Good morning, dear students. From your supplementary reader, Footprints Without Feet, we are doing chapter number 9, Bholi, written by K.A. Abbas. Bholi was the fourth daughter of Namardal Ramlal. She was discriminated as she had pockmarks on her face, tammered, and was considered to be a simpleton. Her life changed altogether when she started going to primary school. The teacher at the primary school had changed her life. In her teacher, she found a kind and helpful human being. She was full of new hope and a new beginning, a new life. We are on page number 58. Thus the years passed. Thus, the years passed, the village became a small town, the little primary school became a high school. There were now a cinema under a tin shed and a cotton grinding mill. The mail train began to stop at their railway station. So now, with the passage of time, the changes came. Bholi started going to primary school. Now that primary school had changed into a high school. Then the cinema was also there under a tin shed, and a grinding mill was also there. And the mail train used to stop at their railway station. One night, after dinner, Ramlal said to his wife, "Then shall I accept Bishamber's proposal?" "Yes, certainly," his wife said. So Ramlal and his wife were talking about some proposal from Bishamber that has come for Bholi. So wife agrees that yes, we should say yes to the proposal. Bholi will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom, a big shop, a house of his own, and I have several thousand in the bank. Moreover, he is not asking for any dowry. So mother was of the view that the proposal is a good one. That is, Bishamber is a well to do bridegroom. He's having a big shop, he's having a house of his own, he's having several thousand money in the bank, and moreover, he's not demanding the dowry also. So, there's no reason why to say no to such a proposal. That's right, but he is not so young, almost the same age as I am, and he also limps. Moreover, the children from his first wife are quite grown up. Now Ramlal had certain doubts regarding Bishamber, and the doubt was that Bishamber is not young, he limps also, and moreover, he is having children from his first wife. So he was worried that his age is similar to him, that is Ramlal. So he was worried that is it a right proposal for Bholi? So what does it matter? His wife replied, 45 or 50, it is no great age for a man. You are lucky that he is from another village and does not know about her pockmarks and her lack of sense. If we don't accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life. Now, for her mother, these things did not matter at all. She believed that age does not matter. She found that it was a very good proposal. They were fortunate that Bishamber is not from their village, it is from a neighboring village, and Bishamber does not know anything about the pockmarks, or that Boli is not intelligent, she lacks sense. So she found that the proposal is an appropriate one, and moreover, if they do not say yes to such a proposal, then maybe Bholi might remain unmarried all her life. Yes, but I wonder what Bholi will say. Now the father Ramlal, he was worried. He was worried that might be the opinion of Bholi. What will that witless one say? She's like a dumb cow. So mother says that she's a foolish. Her opinion does not matter. Maybe you are right, muttered Ramlal. So Ramlal agrees to what wife said. In the other corner of the courtyard, Bholi lay awake on her cot, listening to her parents' whispered conversation. Now Bholi, she was awake. She listened to whatever the parents were talking regarding a proposal of Bishamber, that he's married, he's having 2 kids, he's the age of a father. So she was listening to every bit, whatever the conversation was going on between her parents. Bishambar Nath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a big party of friends and relations with him for the wedding. A brass band playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession, with the bridegroom riding a decorated horse. Ramlal was overjoyed to see such pomp and splendor. He had never dreamed that his fourth daughter would have such a grand wedding. Boli's elder sisters, who had come for the occasion, were envious of her luck. Bishambar Nath, the bridegroom of Boli, was a prosperous grocer. Now, when his wedding procession came, it came with a big party, a huge party of friends and relatives who are dancing to the band playing a popular tune of a Hindi film or an Indian film, and Bishambar was sitting on a decorated horse. Ramlal was overjoyed. He was really happy to see such great show, such great pomp and splendor of the wedding procession, and he was amazed that his daughter, that is fourth daughter Boli, would have such a grand wedding. And Boli's sisters, the elder sisters, they were envious, they were jealous to see how fortunate Boli is to be married to a well-to-do grocer, and whose wedding procession itself was a symbol of the splendor, the grand life she would be leading after this marriage. So they got jealous to see such pomp and splendor and such show. When the auspicious moment came, the priest said, "Bring the bride." Boli, clad in a red silken bridal dress, was led to the bride's place near the sacred fire. Garland the bride, one of his friends, prompted Bishambar Nath. So now the auspicious moment came when Boli is to get married to Bishambar Nath. The priest calls the bride. Boli comes. She is in all bridal dress, the red silken dress, and she comes close to the sacred fire. One of the friends of Bishambar Nath asked him to garland the bride. The bridegroom lifted the garland of yellow marigold. A woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face. Bishambar took a quick glance. The garland remained poised in his hands. The bride slowly pulled down the veil over her face. Now Bishambar was holding this yellow marigold. He lifted the garland to place in the neck of Boli. So one of the women slipped the veil from Boli's face. Now as Bishambar was to garland her, he was stuck, he was shocked. His hands were poised and stopped for a moment. It did not reach her neck to garland her. And Boli slowly and quickly places the veil back on her face. "Have you seen her?" said Bishambar to the friend next to him. "She has pock marks on her face." "So what? You are not young either." "Maybe, but if I am to marry her, her father must give me 5,000 rupees. Now Bishambar was to place the garland in the neck of Boli, but then he was all stuck for a moment, seeing the face of Boli that it had pock marks. So he announces to friend that see her face. So the friend says him that in fact you are also not young, so what does it matter? But then Bishambar, he thought that if I'm going to marry this girl who's all disfigured with an ugly face, then I would demand a dowry of 5,000 rupees. Ramlal went and placed his turban, his honor, at Bishambar's feet. "Do not humiliate me so. Take 2,000 rupees." So when Bishambar demanded for 5,000 rupees, Ramlal places his turban, his honor, at the feet of Bishambar, telling him, pleading him not to humiliate him in the village, and can take 2,000 rupees. "No, 5,000, or we go back. Keep your daughter." So Bishambar threatens to walk away from the ceremony, saying that he wants 5,000. "Be a little considerate, please. If you go back, I can never show my face in the village. Then out with 5,000. So Ramlal pleads him, requests him to be considerate, and then if he is going to walk off from the ceremony, then he would not be able to show his face in the village. It would be an embarrassment. So Bishambar demands 5,000. Tears streaming down his face, Ramlal went in, opened the safe, and counted out the notes. He placed the bundle at bridegroom's feet. So Ramlal was afraid of the humiliation. So with tears in his eyes, he handed the dowry money, that is 5,000 rupees, to Bishambar. On Bishamber's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. He had gambled and won. Give me the garland, he announced. So now Bishamber, he was so victorious. He was able to, he demanded 5,000 rupees and the demand was fulfilled. So he had a triumphant smile on his face, and then he proceeded to garland Bholi. Once again, the veil was slipped back from the bride's face, but this time her eyes were not downcast. Downcast, that is, looking downwards. She was looking up, looking straight at her prospective, that is, possible husband, and in her eyes there was neither anger nor hate, only cold contempt. Now Bishamber was ready to garland the bride, so the veil was lifted of the bride. But then the bride, that is Bholi, her eyes were not downcast, it was not looking down, it was looking straight at Bishamber in his eyes, and there was cold contempt in the eyes of Bholi for Bishamber. Bishamber raised the garland to place it round the bride's neck, but before he could do so, Bholi's hand stuck out like a streak of lightning, and the garland was flung into the fire. She got up and threw away the veil. Now, before Bishamber could place the garland in Bholi's neck, she stuck out like a lightning, her hand stuck out like a lightning, a streak of lightning, and she threw the garland into the sacred fire. Pitaji, said Bholi in a clear, loud voice, and her father, mother, sisters, brothers, relations, and neighbors were startled to hear her speak without even the slightest stammer. So Bholi announces to Father Pitaji, and everyone, the family, the neighbor, everyone was amazed that she did not stammer. Pitaji, take back your money. I am not going to marry this man. So Bholi stood up. She stood up against the evil of dowry, and she raised her voice saying that she will not marry this person, she will not marry this man, and she asked father to take the money back from him. Ramlal was thunderstruck. The guests began to whisper, so shameless, so ugly, and so shameless. So Ramlal was stunned to see his daughter throw the garland in the sacred fire, and moreover speaking without a stammer. And guests started talking against Bholi that a dumb fellow, a dumb girl, an ugly girl has turned out to be shameless. Bholi, are you crazy? Shouted Ramlal. You want to disgrace your family? Have some regard for our izzat. Now Ramlal felt ashamed, and he said that, have you gone crazy? Have you gone mad? At least have some regard for the izzat we have in the village. You want to disgrace and humiliate the family in the village? For the sake of your izzat, said Bholi, I was willing to marry this lame old man. But I will not have such a mean, greedy, and contemptible coward as my husband. I won't. Bholi said that I was ready to marry this old man, this lame person, this mean and greedy person, a coward, and was ready to take him as a husband just because of for your izzat, for your sake of your izzat. But now I will not marry this person. What a shameless girl. We all thought she was a harmless dumb cow. So one of the women said, the guest said that we thought that the girl is harmless, she is dumb, she does not have words in her mouth, but then she is so shameless. Bholi turned violently on the old woman. Yes, auntie, you are right. You all thought I was a dumb driven cow. So Bholi was very furious listening to this guest, this old woman, and she said, yes, you all thought that I was dumb. I do not have voice. I can't speak. That's why you wanted to hand me over to this heartless creature, and that is the reason you wanted me to marry this old person, a heartless man. But now the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear more? So she announces to this woman that this dumb cow is speaking, and the stammering person whom you thought to be dumb, to be stammering, to be ugly, she is speaking. She has voice. She can stand on her own. Do you want to hear something else? Bishambar Nath, the grocer, started to go back with his party. The confused bandsman thought this was the end of the ceremony and struck up a closing song. Now Boli refused to get married to such a greedy person, a coward person. So Bishambar Nath started leaving this wedding. There was nothing left for him. He was humiliated in the village, and confused bandsmen, they thought that the wedding has come to an end, so they started playing a closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low with the weight of grief and shame. Now Ramlal was in grief, he was sad, he was sorrowful that the daughter could not be married, and he was feeling shame because his Izzat had been humiliated in the village. This is what he feels because his daughter did not get married and Bishambar had left. The flames of the sacred fire slowly died down. Everyone was gone. So the guest also started leaving as the marriage did not take place, and the sacred fire also extinguished. Ramlal turned to Bholi and said, "But what about you? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you?" So Ramlal says to Bholi, "What will happen of you?" Why? He was worried that the girl has pockmarks and she is witless girl. So he got worried that what will happen of you and nobody would marry with you. And Sulekha said in a voice that was calm and steady, "Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will serve you and mother, and I will teach in the same school where I learned so much. Isn't that right, ma'am?" So, Boli, the simpleton, is transformed, and she is transformed into Sulekha, an educated girl. She says to father in a very calm voice, in a steady voice, in a steady tone, she says that you do not worry. Why? Because she is going to serve the parents in their old age, and she is going to teach in the same school where she has been taught. And then she asked the teacher, "Is that not so?" The teacher had all along stood in a corner watching the drama. "Yes, Boli, of course," she replied, and in her smiling eyes was the light of a deep satisfaction that an artist feels when contemplating the completion of her masterpiece. So the teacher confirms that one day she would be a teacher without any doubt. And the writer says what? That the artist is the teacher and the masterpiece is Boli. It was her teacher who had turned Boli into a strong and independent girl who was aware of her place in society, as an artist can make a masterpiece if he finds the perfect material. So the teacher had that shine, that glow, that smiling eyes when she saw Boli took up a stand for herself, and she felt the deep satisfaction seeing Boli, an educated girl who's no more a backward or a dumb girl, and who looks forward to become a teacher in the same school where she had learned so much.